is arranged by Rob Hobby. And the words to this hymn, O God beyond all praising, we worship you today. And we sing of love amazing that songs cannot repay. So I hope that you will worship together as we hear our prelude this morning.
New Baptist Church in the Upper Oakland Avenue community came from Dr. R.A. McFarland, who was the pastor of First Baptist Rock Hill. It was under his leadership that a site was selected for the new Oakland Baptist Church on July 22nd, 1940. However, due to the strains of World War II, the construction of the church building did not happen for several years later. It was exactly 9 years later, on July 22nd, 1949, that a ceremony was held and a date stone was commemorated. Almost a year later, on July 9, 1950, a dedication service was held. This is the order for that service, which hangs in our parlor. We have mirrored that service from 1950 in our worship today. Because of the faithfulness of those who followed God's leading 70 years ago, countless individuals, young and old, have sat in classrooms just like this one and heard the Word of God. In these sanctuary walls, we've come together for Sunday worship, weddings, funerals, special services, including Christmas candlelight and joyous Easter mornings. We've celebrated scores of men, women, and children who have come to know the Lord and have been baptized in these waters. pastors, associate pastors, youth and children's ministers, deacons, and so many volunteers have helped shape the welcoming and inviting church Oakland is today. And so on this day, we want to celebrate 70 years of being the presence of Christ here at these crossroads of life we call Oakland Baptist Church. I know I speak for many in saying we long to be together in this space again. But until it is safe to do so, we pray that we can celebrate from a distance. Of course, and I'll pick it up where that handsome gentleman left off. Of course, that was last year's greeting to our video recording for our 70th anniversary. We had planned a big Sunday worship together and lunch with each other, but obviously that was derailed because of the pandemic, and so we were unable to be in this space together. A lot has transpired in this past year. At the time of that recording, I was staring into a camera lens and an empty sanctuary, empty classrooms. If you view that entire worship video, John had a full facial beard and hair down to here. A lot has changed, hasn't it, John? A lot has changed, but we are excited to be back in this space today, and so that's why we've called today the celebration of 70 years plus one as we come to this space for worship. Even though it's been a year, I still want to publicly thank our 70th anniversary team. You saw their picture at the end of that video. They had planned a number of events for us over the course of last year, but again, many of those events were unable to happen. Still, they deserve our appreciation for their hard work and effort. If you are a member of that team, would you stand for us this morning? I know some of you are here. A few of you, thank you for your work. Suzanne and I are wearing our red stoles today. Red is the color for celebration in the life of the church. You think of Pentecost, the birth of the church, the gift of the Holy Spirit, Reformation, ordination. It's also a reminder that God's Spirit is still with us, dwells with us in our past, in our present, in our future. And we've been talking a lot about the future this year. We're in a visioning year. We have a vision team. And that team is going to lead us in our worship this morning. And I just want to drop a footnote to say, as I've said many times before, we are trying to be as transparent as we possibly can with our vision, God's vision for this church. And so if you go to our website, oaklandchurch.com/visioning, you can find every single thing the vision team has done. You can find all the input that we've gathered from our congregational meetings, and you can hear the process, read the process as we continue through this year. But for now, I want to welcome you to this special day of worship that we have together. If you're a guest with us, we're grateful that you've joined us. Take a moment and just complete that perforated guest card that you'll find in your worship guide. Hand it to one of the ministers. Put it in the box for the offering as you leave this morning, and we'll gather that. We'd love to listen to your story and tell you our story. 71 years of God's faithfulness here at these crossroads. We're also having lunch after worship today. It's a free lunch. My grandfather said there's no such thing. But at least for all of you today, there is. And so we invite you to join us for lunch in the gymnasium afterwards. If you didn't sign up for lunch, that's okay. We ordered extras. Come fellowship around the tables together. But as we begin our worship time, I invite you to stand and greet one another by sharing the peace of Christ. As you make your way back to your pew this morning, let us join together. The peace of Christ be with you.
Good morning. Please join us in our call to worship. We come to celebrate God's faithfulness of our past.
We give thanks to God for the church of our present.
We look to God for the vision of our future. God, who is with our ancestors, is with us as well.
We can go forward in hope because God remains faithful.
May we grow together in faith and love as we share together as the body of Christ. Praise be to God.
Good morning. I am Susan York, and I have been a member of Oakland Baptist Church for 38 years, which is more than half my life. I am also a member of the Vision Team, and while honored to serve, I'm also fully aware that my seat on this team was based at least partially on my age. And yes, I am older than Sadie and Heath, and Miller, and Meredith, and Jimmy, and even Jeff, but not everybody. In all sincerity, the mix of age groups represented by this wonderful team has provided a growth experience in itself, a lesson we need to carry forward. I thank all of you for your confidence in our efforts to provide a stepping stone into the future of Oakland Baptist Church. Our success will be solidly based on the willingness you have demonstrated in participating in all the opportunities to contribute to this process. What you have said you valued most as a member of Oakland is our focus on service to this community, addressing both physical and spiritual needs. You confirmed that local mission opportunities should continue to be the foundation of OBC ministry as we grow and partner with others to address both these needs and the cultural barriers that cause them. You said you came to Oakland because of the ministry. You also said you came for the children's program. the music program, the support of your Sunday school class, and the spiritual learning experience offered there. You have valued our collective open hearts to all who seek to worship God and follow the path of Jesus. You have valued each member's gifts and allowed all who wish to serve to do so. This is our strong history, and it's important. It's also why I chose to raise my son with your help. On my second visit here, Nancy Wendell remembered Michael's name when there were already 23 two-year-olds in the nursery. The day school gave him a place to play, learn, and make lifelong friendships. Judy Humphreys, Shelby Sapp, and Carlton Eustis found jobs for him when he wrecked his truck and needed repair funds that Mom and Dad would not provide. And they all overpaid him. He went on mission trips, worked hard, and learned even more. He learned from Clark Weeks to live those Bible verses and to wear socks to church. And when he prayed on Youth Sunday as a senior, he made his mama proud and cry. I hope I have painted a picture of why I'm here and how very much this old gal wants to stick around and hopefully contribute as we get even better at what we already do well.
$30 minutes? 30. Oh, maybe 3 minutes. Memories from 43 years at Oakland. I'm Frank Snyder, by the way, a member of the Vision team. Condensed into 3 or 4 minutes, just picture a wide open fire hose coming at you. Lynn and I joined Oakland in 1978 upon our marriage. Henry T. Finch Jr. was the senior pastor of Oakland, and Clinton Flowers was the Oakland music minister. But the coincidence was that those people were also at First Church in Hartsville when Lynn was growing up. So it was natural for us to come visit Oakland, and it was my first time ever in a Baptist church. So you can imagine, growing up Methodist, there was quite a different sense for me as I walked in. I knew nothing. In 1978, when we joined, Oakland was affiliated with the Southern Baptist Convention. There was no cooperative Baptist fellowship, no female clergy, no female deacons, and ministers wore suits and ties. Annually, as many of you will remember, a sheet was containing the names of all adult male members of Oakland was handed out for church members to cast votes for up to 10 men as deacons. 1978, remember? Okay. As I said, as a completely new Baptist, I didn't know any different. Okay? I didn't know any different. Our children went to the fledgling Oakland Day School, where Gail Helms was one of their teachers, and today she's still teaching there. Bless her heart. In 1982, when Dr. Finch moved to First Baptist in Charleston, we reached out to a young minister named Robert Dale Schrum and his family for what became a long-term, 30-plus years relationship. They started in 1983. In 1984, our first female clergy person joined us. Now, who do you think that might have been? Well, it was Debbie Warren. And Debbie Warren had been ordained at First Church Pendleton, where Dr. Schrum had been the pastor. So Debbie Warren was our first female clergy person. The evolution at Oakland continued into the late 80s, when female members were included in the nominations as prospective deacons. The first woman elected to the Fellowship of Deacons in 1987 was Georgie Elder. Okay? Followed soon by Betty Lou Land and many other God-loving women over the past 34 years. As some strife within the Southern Baptist Convention began,
the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship was born, and Oakland began splitting its designated offerings between the two entities. Today, only CBF is a line item in our budget. These examples will show you the evolution that we have gone through. In 1992, our family, along with 50 to 75 other members of Oakland, chose to go over to the National Guard Armory, where across the street, Oakland had donated a 10-acre plot of land for a mission church. Under the leadership of Dr. Harold Shirley and his wife Betty, that grew to a 200-member congregation fairly quickly, and a sanctuary was built on that property. And that was a long-time dream of Oakland, to have a mission church, just like Oakland had been the mission church of First Baptist. So you pay it forward. Inclusiveness is one of Oakland's core values, and that value can show itself even in some surprising ways. Around 2007-2008, a recommendation from the staff and the deacons was brought to the congregation at the conclusion of a worship service. Normally you'd think, okay, anything the deacons and the staff recommend is going to get passed through, right? Not always. At that service, the recommendation was to embark on a building campaign that would have cost between $1 million and $2 million. In a historic demonstration of Oakland's openness and value of all congregants, all members of the congregation, the motion was defeated by the congregation because of concern that the economy was in recession and committing to such a large capital campaign was not the right thing at that particular time. That's an example of inclusiveness in Oakland. Every voice is heard and every opinion is considered. Even where there is not unanimity, there is inclusiveness. Upon Bob Schrump's retirement, Oakland reached out to Reverend Jeff Hayes to come and provide us with pastoral leadership. We're grateful to have the Hayes family as part of our fellowship. And like all churches, Oakland's membership continues to evolve through the life events of things like births and deaths and job changes and family dynamics, decisions to move out of town, decisions to choose another fellowship, and new people choosing to come to Oakland. At Oakland, we've certainly had our challenges over the years. Members and staff have come, members and staff have gone, but the central theme of each Oaklander prayerfully discerning how God is leading him or her continues to be upheld. My family and I are grateful to have been a part of Oakland for all these years. To God be the glory.
Many thanks to Susan and Frank as they shared about our past, and we look forward to other Vision team members as they share about our present and future in this worship service together. Our scripture lesson comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 3. I'm going to read verse 6 through verse 9. I planted, Apollos watered, but it was God who gave the growth. So neither the one who plants nor the one who waters is anything, but only God who gives the growth. The one who plants and the one who waters have a common purpose, and each will receive wages according to the labor of each. For we are God's servants, working together, and you are God's field, God's building. This is the word of God for the people of God. It was a little over 2 months ago, church family, that I embarked on an annual spring ritual that I believe many of us share in common. I planted some seeds in hopes that I would sprout some summer tomatoes. Perhaps you planted seeds for summer cucumbers or other vegetables or herbs. I do it every year. I find a spot in the yard that's going to receive the most sun. I carefully prepare the soil. I water diligently, all in the hope, sometimes prayerfully, that I will have red, ripe, beautiful tomatoes for BLT sandwiches. Gardening is an exercise in trust, isn't it? because so much of it depends on factors that are beyond my control. I can pick out the spot. I can plant the seed. I can water the seed. I can pray over the seed. But I have no control over the seed. And control is something I like to have in most areas of my life. Perhaps you can agree. The challenge of gardening is trusting that something will grow even when I am not in control. Paul says it's the same with God. I need to trust in the promise that is sealed within the seed. It is God who gives the growth. Now, that may cause us to quickly think that somehow we have no responsibility, that we can be removed from the process. But we know that's not true. And as we heard in Susan and Frank's discussion of the past of our church, you've played a role in bringing Oakland to this point in her history. We're called to plant. We're called to water. And these are the things we've even been doing in the past year, our visioning year. Through each of our congregational meetings, through the water cooler conversations, through the conversations that have taken place at the coffee shop, in the hallway, in your Sunday school class, we've been talking about where God is leading our church for the future. We've been tilling the soil. We've been planting the seed. We've been watering the sprouts. And I appreciate what Frank and Susan have shared with us, and I look forward to hearing what others are going to share momentarily. And I appreciate hearing from all of you for your commitment to this process. And I know as I stand here, we're halfway through this year. And many of you have said to me over and over again, what's it going to look like? What is going to be a part of this vision? Well, have you considered this? Have you considered that? And I've likened it this morning to planting a summer vegetable garden. Friends, these things take time. These things take time. So let us continue to do our part, to be patient as we wait for God's vision, as we wait for the action steps toward our future. And let's trust the God of the seed who ultimately brings about the harvest. I'm excited about what is in the future for Oakland. I've been very proud of the work of our vision team, and I look forward to more conversations this fall and seeing what God produces, harvest, in the coming days. As we continue our worship, though, this morning, I want to invite Becky Partlow. Becky was a co-chair of our 70th anniversary team, and she did a wonderful job. And Becky, would you please come forward now and lead us this morning in prayer?
It should be noted that I am concluding the history part of this service because I am one of those people that's been here since the doors opened. At any rate, I hope you love this church as much as I do. Obviously, we're here, and so I'm delighted to see you this morning. Will you bow your head and pray with me? Heavenly Father, we ask your continued blessings on this homecoming Sunday for a church that has ministered to the needs of this community for more than 70 years. We are thankful for the people of First Baptist Church who had the vision to establish a church on this corner, and then for the OBC, men, women, and youth who nurtured its growth over the years. We are humbled, O God, by your continued love and gifts of hope, stamina, and grace. As we come before you today, we rejoice that we can be in person worshiping you, our loving Father, who has comforted us through the years and provided a sanctuary for peace during the tumultuous times in which we live. Continue to give us strength and wisdom to traverse our days. Help us to remain steadfast in your love and treat others with Christian kindness. We especially pray this morning for our nation at large and our community in Rock Hill. Give our leaders the wisdom to make decisions that are pleasing in your eyes. We also pray a special prayer for those in our church family who are sick or dealing with the difficulties of life. Give them the courage they need to handle each day as it comes. As we look to the future, dear Lord, continue to give our church and the visioning team your quiet guidance. Know that we have put our faith in these individuals as visionaries for our future, who will use the abundance of talent you have bestowed on them, this church, and its people to guide their work. We know also that whatever challenges we will face in the future, you are always by our side, guiding our steps. Be with us now as we continue to celebrate this homecoming. In your precious name, O Lord. Amen.
Good morning, Oakland Baptist, and happy anniversary. Unlike a bad family member or spouse, I remembered the anniversary, so we're already starting on a good note. My name is Miller Hoffman, and although I wasn't present for Oakland's beginning, Oakland was there for mine. As a bed baby in the nursery, receiving care from the Nancy Wendells of the world, I can safely say I was born and raised in this church. For that, I'm ever thankful, and I look to return the favor through the various roles that Oakland allows me to serve. A member of our dedicated deacons, a representative of our finance committee, and a participant of our vision team. When thinking of some of my favorite things about Oakland presently, a phrase I used often comes to mind. We are a 7 days a week church, not just a Sunday morning church. Growing up, Oakland was a common place for me to be found. Sunday was, of course, Sunday school, worship, and then youth activities that night. Monday was for Boy Scouts under the leadership of people like Dennis Smith. Wednesday was handbells, choir, and Wednesday night suppers, all after a long day of church and practice for basketball. With weekends being often on campouts through Scouts, mission trips, and other youth events. Oakland allows its members to grow through our internal programs and also through our involvements with the community outside of the church walls. The vision process has been a way for me to grow individually, but also with my vision mates and church family. Selfishly, I've enjoyed the chance to get to learn from our more senior church members, like Frank and Susan. But I hope you feel as a congregation that you feel heard and that your thoughts are truly being incorporated for our plans for the future. We've been busy organizing our God-sized dreams with your help, along with working with smaller groups to refine those ideas. I've had the opportunity to collaborate with Jim Vining, Jimmy Williams, Susan York, and Kim Shaw just this past weekend to further articulate our statements around Oakland's core dreams, and I've learned this. As important as it is to look ahead, knowing who we are presently is a prerequisite in believing for who we can be. We look forward to continuing this process, and your prayerful consideration is at the top of our wish list as we move forward. Thank you, Oakland, and happy anniversary.
Good morning. I am Karen Emerton. This is my first time standing front and center in this pulpit. Typically, you will find my family, my children, Nathan and Caroline and Claire, and then if Brett is not busy working in the sound booth, he is up there with us, but we are typically in the balcony. But today, it is so good to be in front of you all to briefly share just some personal words of assurance and affirmation about Oakland. So my family and I joined Oakland about 4.5 years ago after visiting very actively for an entire year. I don't know what the average length of visit is for most people, but for us, I know that we wanted to be very deliberate in our search for a church that we felt that our family could grow in, with a special emphasis and attention to our 3 kids and their spiritual growth. Visiting for a whole year allowed us the time that we needed to observe, to talk, to learn, to listen, and to feel. And it really gave us a true picture of this family of faith that we ultimately decided to become a part of. The core values of Oakland that we observed when we visited here have remained constant to this day. This place truly is a faith community, and there is a sincere, welcoming spirit here from the people, and it truly makes you feel like you are home. Our son, Nathan, has stood in this pulpit way more than I have, and he has delivered prayers or small speaking parts. And he's at the age now where he feels that normal sense of nervousness that comes before public speaking. And I have found that all I have to say to calm him is I look at him and I say, Nathan, this is your church family. You are speaking in front of people where you are safe, you are loved, and they are so proud of you. And that calms him every time. And I did share those same words of encouragement with myself this morning. So thank you for that. But it is true. When we are here, we are home. In addition to seeking that feeling of home, it was very highly important to our family that we find a church that did not just talk about inclusiveness and outreach and missions, but actually valued and acted and practiced those things. It is critical that faith communities not just present, but genuinely act as what I call a judgment-free zone where all are welcome. You come exactly as you are, and you are met with love, plain and simple. I believe that Oakland is very intentional about extending outreach to all. We don't look at outreach and inclusiveness and missions as just check boxes on our values list. We hold those things in high esteem because they are the part of the commitment that we made as Christians to be an extension of God's goodness, His grace, and love, both within and outside of this building. So in both my family's time as active visitors and now members, Oakland has proven time and time again to be consistent in its values and its purpose, with a commitment to learning and growing. This is a faith community that believes that we are truly better together, and we invite everyone to be a part of this spiritual experience. And I am so glad that I'm here for it. Thank you.
Our anthem, Psalm for a New Day, was written for our 70th anniversary and will be sung today for the very first time. You will find the text in your bulletin. Our composer is Larry E. Schultz. Larry grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He presently serves as Minister of Music at Pullen Memorial in Raleigh, North Carolina. Larry is known nationally for his compositions. He serves on the board for our youth and adult Festival by the Sea, and he and his wife Cindy are my longtime seminary friends. They are also friends of Mac and Betty Jones from their serving together at First Baptist Church in Waltersboro. Larry and I discussed the text of this anthem long before the COVID outbreak, and even before I knew that Oakland would be in a visioning process. This anthem expresses elements of Oakland's past, present, and future. At the crossroads we stand, seeking wisdom, strength, and sight are words you will find in the text. Larry writes in his composer's notes, Psalm for a New Day expresses gratitude for the bright new days and beauteous nights that are ahead for Oakland Baptist Church, Rock Hill, South Carolina, as it celebrates its 70th anniversary. With quotes from the Psalms and the prophet Jeremiah, this anthem expresses God's love that shines upon our way. The final word of the anthem, shine, is an encouragement for all to reflect that love. Though much of the text to this anthem was written in 2019 and early 2020, it was completed along with the music during the COVID-19 pandemic in May of 2020. When writing these words, I had no idea how their hopeful and joyful expressions would be longed for by people experiencing the sickness, concern, grief, and human isolation of this time. Following the pandemic, may this anthem not only celebrate a significant anniversary, but be the cherished opportunity once taken for granted of humans gathered together in song. Welcome the dawn of a bright new day, a psalm for a new day.
Hi, my name is Heath Hudson. I've been here at Oakland for over 16 years. I've grown up at Oakland, and it's a large part of who I am today. After the last congregational meeting, the vision team was tasked with taking the congregation's thoughts and ideas and putting them all together in Oakland's core dreams for the future. The vision team was split into groups to further pull those thoughts together. The discussions I had with my group led me to what I believe are my 4 main dreams for the future of OBC. Number 1, we will be faithful servant leaders offering ourselves for God's work to help meet the spiritual and material needs of our community and world. Number 2, we will love and encourage our congregation and community, finding new ways to connect and grow with others. Number 3, we will be intentionally inclusive, actively working to bridge the gaps in our community. We will not allow our differences to separate us. Number 4, we will provide a comfortable, non-confrontational environment, encouraging and respecting different ideas. This is where the vision team is at now. Determining how we reach these dreams is what will come next. I ask that you continue to support and encourage the vision team as we continue on this journey. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sadie Bridges, and I've been at Oakland since before I was born. I'm 13 years old, which I've been told makes some people feel old, and the youngest person on the vision team. I am almost convinced that they chose me to bring the average age down. For a long time, people have been telling me that my generation is the future of the church, but I never really understood that until I became a part of the vision team. During the vision team meetings, we all had huge or God-sized dreams on what we could do to help grow our church. But there was one meeting that really showed me the possibilities of our church's future. I was in a small group with Karen Emerton and Jimmy Williams, and we all looked around and agreed we had no idea what we were supposed to be doing. But after getting some guidance, we started brainstorming about the future. And from that small group came ideas about expanding the ministry center, helping change Wednesday night supper to be more inclusive towards the Hispanic community, and becoming the example church for Rock Hill. Later that evening, as a group, we all started to flesh out these ideas and see them become a reality. We talked about having a second location for the ministry center, or even a mobile ministry center. We talked about finding a way to teach people Spanish in order to communicate with our Spanish community. We discussed being the IT church and being a prime example of inclusivity, service in the community, being welcoming and serving in a fellowship under God. And with the work of our church, using our gifts to help grow and change it for the better, will lead to a bigger, brighter future. Thank you.
few moments. Callie, if you want to make your way up to the front, and Sydney, if you want to come stand with me. I'm interrupting the normal flow of worship, but that's a good thing for us this morning. This is Sydney Fowler. Sydney has been visiting with us for a handful of weeks, maybe a month or so. We had an opportunity to share a meal together this past week. And he just spoke in excitement of our church and his desire to be a part of this family of faith. I think I can quote you in saying when he said, when I first visited, I knew this was the church for me. And we're grateful, Sydney, that God placed that on your heart and that you have made the decision to join us in this fellowship. We welcome you. He comes, having been a long-time member at First Baptist Clover, and now coming here to Oakland. And I tell you what, bless my heart, he says, I want to pray. Usually I pray when folks come up here. He says, no, you be quiet. And to pray here at the front that God would use him to be a valuable part of this church. And Sydney, we do pray that with you, and we're glad that you are here. I'm going to have you just kind of sit back over here, and then when worship is completed and you're making your way down for lunch, I'm going to have Sydney stand at the front. You can come by and greet him as you exit. When we have someone join the church, we remind ourselves of the covenant that we've made to God and to each other. We've been reminded of that covenant many times today in the good words from the members of our vision team. But let us formally say this together. So, Callie, where are you, my dear? She's going to come forward and lead us. You will see your part printed there in the worship guide. And would you just stand as we say this covenant together?
United in faith that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, revealed in history, disclosed in the scriptures, and experienced in human life, we, the members of Oakland Baptist Church, do solemnly, joyfully make this covenant together. We will be faithful to the public worship of God, gathering into the body of believers to celebrate God's glory and remember God's grace. We will take seriously the responsibility and privilege of personal Christian growth, diligently seeking to establish and maintain a Christian atmosphere in our homes. We will love and encourage each other in the body of believers and admonish each other as the occasion may require. Our differences will not separate us, but rather increase our understanding and strengthen the bonds of Christian love. We will be faithful stewards as God has prospered us, contributing our financial support for the church and its ministries, and offering ourselves for God's work in the world. We will, with God's help, so live our lives that others, seeing the joy of Christian living, may seek to know Jesus Christ our Lord. We will be a servant church, recognizing the infinite work of every person and believing that Christ has called us to active involvement in behalf of humankind. In the spirit of this covenant, we pray together.
Almighty God, creator of us all, witness this covenant which we make with each other and with you. Guide us as we try to do that which pleases you, to the glory of your Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Thank you. And I'm going to have you remain standing just for one more moment. A couple of things. One, come to lunch and fellowship around the table. Number two, a reminder that everything our vision team is doing is on our website. We are trying to remain as transparent with you as possible. We are looking forward to the fall and getting together again congregationally to discuss some of the dreams we have for our future and to receive your feedback, your inclusiveness, so that we can then go back and make sure we are all together in where God is leading us. You can look for those dates as they appear very soon. A number of you mentioned in your conversations today about the ministries of Oakland, and we're gathering a number of things throughout the summer to help with the ministry center, to help with Sullivan Middle School, to provide a meal at Bethel. Lots of things, wonderful things taking place missionally in our church. And I just call your attention to the worship guide, that back page where you can see some of the things that are taking place. And I invite you to worship with us again this Wednesday at Ebenezer Park. We'll gather there at the lake. It's a bring your own picnic dinner at 6 o'clock, and then at 6:30 we will worship together in that space. I want to invite Edie Dobbins to come forward. She is the youngest at heart on our mission team, on our vision team. And Edie, before you lead us in our benediction, which is printed there in your worship guide, we pray for God's blessings and grace over the meal that we will share around the table today. Let that serve as our blessing. And Edie, will you lead us in our benediction?
May we go out into God's future to love, to serve, and to be made new. We are the body of Christ. May we share a vision that impacts the lives of all we meet. We are the body of Christ. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the unity of the Holy Spirit keep us now and forever. Alleluia. Amen.